lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Digital technology, the internet, and this idea of things like basic income are strongly tied together.
Concerns about job losses from industrial, automotive, and other types of automation will grow as traditional middle-class jobs dwindle. Policymakers will have to start to take on this topic, and they'll have to look at radical long-term solutions like a universal income.
Universal basic income, I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
Because there is no job, machine, robot is taking over.
Why is the sudden discussion about universal basic income from all the grassroots and inverted commas movements and billionaires? Oh, universal basic income is the bribe for you to accept the microchip.
You just have a chip and you have central bank digital currency, put those two things together, and what have you got?
The central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability.
Those money can be precisely targeted for what kind of people can own and what kind of use this money can be utilized. For example, for food.
Are you going to go to the CBDC land where eventually you won't be able to spend money without like a microchip in your hand and all of this stuff? There's obvious red lines people can't cross. How are you going to feed your family? How are you going to keep your house heated in winter?
Basic needs.
There is a global meltdown coming. It is a global depression, and one world currency and one world financial system is the end game.
If you want, which is what they do want, a world government, a world central bank, a world army, an amalgamation of NATO and the UN peacekeeping operation, a world currency, electronic, no cash, and a microchip population, then what you've got to do, and this is the way they work, a process I call problem, reaction, solution, you've got to keep creating the problems, get the people to react, do something in fear and outrage, all of what's happening, what they're going to do about it, and then they, who've covertly created the problem, offer the solutions to the problems they've created, which is the constant centralization of power. That's what all the solutions are.
Wow, we're thinking about, high inflation. And what could stabilize that? Well, Fed's been out of bullets for a while. You know what would stabilize that? One bank, the Federal Reserve, and we could open up accounts at the Federal Reserve and we'll put money, free money. Gosh, that would be really helpful, especially when food prices are out of control and jobs are hard to get.
Technology is getting to the point where it's going to have a very significant impact on the job market. Its machines are increasingly going to be capable of taking over a lot of the work that's now being done by people, probably on an unprecedented scale. I mean, this is, people who are skeptical will point out that this is something that has happened throughout history, and that's certainly true. But we're really now beginning machines, in some limited sense at least, begin to think like people. They can take on intellectual tasks as well as manual tasks. And that's something that, is a capability that's just going to scale across industries. It's going to invade really every kind of work. And it's going to climb the skills ladder and take over a lot of jobs that are now done by people who are educated and so forth. So it's I think, a big challenge for us. In the short term, we are going to see profits increase because obviously this technology makes companies more efficient. In the long run, what I worry about is that if we really end up with unemployment or we end up with people that have very low wages, then we don't have enough people out there to drive the economy and create demand and create a prosperous future. And I think at that point, if we begin to see that, then I hope that governments and the population in general will wake up to the fact that we need to do something to adapt to this. That can help us deal with this fundamental shift that's occurring.
So on some form, you could look at this world that's coming and say this is kind of the ideal leisure society where people don't have to work anymore, that standards of living could rise because we have, great technologies and cheaper transportation. You're saying it's not necessarily going to be the outcome unless governments do something dramatic.
We need to have some policies in place. I think that any policy you can envision to adapt to this problem is going to be fairly radical. Maybe the best idea that I've heard about is to give everyone a guaranteed basic income.
Why is the sudden discussion about universal basic income from all the grassroots and inverted commas movements? Oh, universal basic income is the bribe for you to accept the microchip.
All your money is going to be in that chip. It's going to be a cashless society.